What's up, Notjust developers? Welcome back to another live stream. Today, we're going to continue the Reddit clone, and here with me, I have Lucas. Hi, Lucas. How are you doing today?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing great. Can't wait to get into it. Once
Per
again, I'm really enjoying so far this clone. I think it's coming up really well.
yeah, I agree. Let's go ahead and see what exactly we're going to do today. So hopefully I'm sharing what I have to, and here we have it. So we're building a Reddit clone, a full stack Reddit clone using React Native Expo Clerk, using Supabase on the backend, and a lot of modern tools that allows you to build really powerful and scalable mobile applications. On the Reddit, we are building, we already have a home feed, we have a detailed post page, the creating a post, the community search, authentication using Clerk, and today the focus is going to be on comments and some other extra features. So today we're gonna cover both the UI of the comments and the backend logic with Supabase. And these are not going to be simple comments. These are going to be quite complex comment system with replies, with yeah, a lot of levels of replies with that will involve some performance issues that we're going to teach you how to solve. In this project, for the tech stack, we're using React Native and Expo to build a universal mobile application for iOS and Android. We're using Expo Router, a file-based navigation system, and for authentication, we are using Clerk. For the global state management, we're using Jotai, and everything is built with TypeScript. On the backend, we are using Supabase, and there we are creating our Postgres databases. We are fetching the data in our application with Tanstack query, caching it, and learning a lot of backend development as well. So, Lucas, what we will learn today?
So, yeah, first things first, we will be building our comment section on the front end. We need to make it optimized, not to sacrifice the performance, and also make it look good. So that's going to be our two main parts on the UI. And then after that, we'll be integrating it with the backend when we'll be implementing pagination. And lastly, hopefully also adding the file storage to upload and manage the files, which will be images in our case.
All right, so that's a lot of, as always, we're setting a lot of goals for ourselves. Let's hope that we will manage everything, but I'm pretty sure we will do. And there is a lot to learn here, from the UI, from React Native to performance to backend implementation, pagination, file storage. Like that's all features that most application needs out there, and it's an opportunity for you to learn by building a project. On this channel, you're going to find a lot of project-based learning where you can build real applications and gain experience through hands-on development. So if you are interested, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more tutorials like this. And I think we're ready to get started and roll the intro. Let's do it. Hopefully the intro has finished. And before we get started, I will remind you that we have invested a lot of time to prepare a step-by-step guide that is going to make your life easier. To get access to this guide, just go to assets.notjust.dev/reddit or follow the link in the description of the YouTube channel. And then you're going to have access to this guide that we are also going to use throughout this tutorial to implement everything. So if you scroll down, you're going to see the task board, and make sure to open these tasks because everything here contains explanation, code snippets, and way more in-depth explanation of the things that we are learning throughout this tutorial. So yeah, shout out to Lucas. Lucas, you did an amazing job of explaining everything in details, and I think this is one of the best structured tutorials and projects that we've done in a while. So, yeah, just a note for everyone that is, where are we? Just a note for everyone that is watching this live, or if you are watching the recording of a live stream. This is the third part of a video, so check out on our channel the previous two parts. In the first one, we focused on the UI. In the second one, we focused on the backend. Today, we're going to focus on the comments, which includes both UI and backend, and pagination, which also involves both of them, and storage. We're going to start with the UI of the comments, which means that we're not going to see in my source code the backend code. I swapped the branch, so we're only going to see like the UI part. After we finish the comments UI, we're going to merge it together with the backend. So I'm saying this, that if you're following this now and you don't see the backend, don't be scared. We still have a backend, but it's just not visible here. We're gonna bring it back and combine everything together in this video, like probably after an hour or something like that. First, we do the comments UI, and then we move the backend and implement the backend of the comments and the rest that we plan for today. Sounds good?
Yep, sounds amazing. Yeah. So guys, just you can follow as if you would follow the next video. Nothing will change for you, but just don't mind if you're missing some of the folders or files in your Explorer.
I mean, you're gonna have them. We are missing them.
Yeah, we are. Yes, very good correction.
Okay, so I think it's time to get started. Lucas,
Yep.
I'm going to give a stage for you, and you're going to control my system now. Let's get started.
Hopefully it's all gonna work.
Yeah, now,
very good.
Now you're here.
Think everything is visible well. So first things first, what we will do is let's open in the source app, then inside protected, post, and then the detailed post screen. Yep, here. So as you can see on Vadim's screen, you can follow my cursor, and I'll be explaining everything as we follow. So first things first, very easily, what we need to do is import the dummy data that I've provided in the guide. And to do that, let's simply do import. Let's call it comments.
Lucas, one second. Can we show the guide first? That should be the comment section optional, right?
UI, yes.
So guys, before we start coding, go ahead and open the comment section optional from the taskboard, and here you're gonna have like a lot more explanation, but we're taking it step by step and going through it together. Now back into the editor, Lucas, you can continue.
Yes, perfect. So yeah, we'll be importing comments from, and we'll be importing it from our assets, just like the posts here. So you can basically copy it. And we need one more, and I think one more, slash assets slash comments.json. Okay, and do we have them imported? Yes. Maybe I added too many of these. Oh, I forgot to add here data. Yes, exactly. It's in the data folder here. Okay, so we have our comments. Let's maybe follow the same naming convention as well. After we import that, what we need to do for now, because we're working with the dummy data, is to filter out from all of these comments, filter out the comments that belong to, let's say, this post ID.
Can we see the data first?
What?
Can I open the data first?
Yes, I had it open, but yeah, probably it's not gonna.
So what's the structure here of the data?
So the main structure are basically we have objects of comments. The comment itself has an ID, post ID, the post basically that this comment belongs to. It has a user ID of the user that posted this comment, and it has a parent ID. This is going to be very important later on, also now, but with this parent ID, we can decide basically to, is this a reply or not? And basically, as you can see here, But this is a top level comment. That's why it doesn't have any parent. Basically, it's a first comment, but underneath here, under the replies array, we can see that this parent ID does have an ID of comment 1, which
So
belongs to this
it
top
references.
level. Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
So this is what parent ID does, and we'll see it in action very soon. Then we have a comment, when it was created, how many upvotes it has, and the user object that posted it, basically. And as well as I mentioned, the replies array. We'll see how we work with them later on in more detail. So yes, that's the main structure. And what we need to do now is simply filter out the comments. So in order to do that, let's go here. Let's create another variable. Let's call it post comments. And in here, let's say we need to filter comments, not filter. And then we need to pass an explanation, basically how to filter. So we're taking the comment that we're looping through, and we're saying this comment, basically from this array, its ID, it's not actually not its ID, but its post ID needs to match something. So to make it easier to show examples, let's just say here, like it needs to match. I'm gonna show you. I'm not sure if you see my
We
screen
see.
inside the comments, Jason, but
In comments, yeah.
yes, here. So for now, I'm gonna say, just to make it a bit easier, that it should belong to post 1. I will hard code this ID, but later on we will make it dynamic. Basically, we will use this ID.
Okay.
So yes, now that we have these post comments, we can actually console them and see if we actually get them. Let's console log them. Let's open the console. And let's, yes, now we can reload and we will open soon a post. Let's give it a second to load. Okay, let's open a post. And as we can see, we see the comment data, which is very good. That means it's working. Perfect. So we can close the terminal now and we can continue. So the next thing that we will do is going to be creating a simple component that we will use for our comments. So in order to do that, go under comments, and in here, let's create a new file, and
Let
we
me
will
create it.
call it comment list item.tsx.
So
Just
here
like
Lucas
that.
created it.
Yes, exactly. And inside here, let's define a very simple UI for now. So we'll import view and text. We will do it from React Native. And underneath, let's export default function. Let's call it comment list item. And we will return a view with a simple view with a simple text saying comment inside comment. Yes, let's save it for now. So now we have a very simple component. Let's go back to our detailed post. Now in here, what we need to do, first things first, is import the newly created component at the top. So let's do that. Import comment list item, and it should suggest you automatically from where to import, but if it doesn't, you can import it just like we did here. So now to see if everything is working correctly, if we see this component underneath here, let's add it, comment list item, and let's save it. Perfect. We can see underneath that the component is imported, and we can see it. Perfect. Now let's continue and maybe improve a little bit the component UI. I would suggest, if we want to manage to see everything right now, we can very easily copy from the Notion guide. I provided a let's say a step in between, a bit more further down. Yeah, here, improving the UI. So here we can copy all of it here, and we will paste it in. just to save some time, basically. So let me find myself
I can do that
where,
for you.
yeah, you can import it. Yep.
So the code from comment list item code, I just copy it, and inside comment list item, I'll select everything and I'll replace with this one.
Yes. So here, I really do not show anything new. Basically, everything we already covered. There's some stylings. There's some um,
User info.
basically styles in general.
Yeah.
That's mostly what it consists of. So now the problem is that, as we can see from the emulator, saying that we cannot read property of user of undefined. And it is because here we are passing the comment, but yet we're still not passing anything from the list that we basically, yeah, exactly, from this component that we just created. So in order to solve this issue, what we need to do is we need to do define, as we learned, comment, a new property, not parameter. And let's say that we will take from post comments, and let's take the first item inside an array. We can save it, and let's quickly go to the detailed page of our post, and voila, we see our first comment very nicely displayed underneath. So now, because we have a huge list of the comments, probably you already remember, but what we need to do is to use a flat list from React Native, which helps us to render huge lists of data very efficiently. So to the flat list, we need to provide required two properties. One of them is data, basically what data to loop through, and it's going to be post comments. And then another one, as you probably can remember, is going to be the render item function. And I made a mistake here. And here we need to, again, explain how to render the data that we are looping through. So for that, we will simply copy this just created component imported, because we'll be looping through all of the items and rendering this component here. Let's maybe clean it up a bit to make it more readable. This really depends on your taste, probably how you want to have it. So, okay, now we still need to destructure the item that we are looping through. And instead of passing all the time the same comment, we will, oh my bad, we will pass the item as a comment. So now let's see what, cannot find flat list. So, okay, it wasn't imported. Let's go to the top here and import flat list from React Native. Perfect. Now, if we save it and go to the detailed page, we see that we are rendering two components. As you can see right away, there's an issue that only the component part is being scrollable. So in in Reddit, how they have it is that the whole top part of the item should also be scrollable. We can solve that very easily and very fast. The only property, that parameter property, not parameter, that we need to pass is list header component. And instead of having our post list item here at the top, we will pass it to the flat list to basically render it as a component at the top of the list so that it's still scrollable. So now that let's save it, and you can see that it's not sticking to the top. It's basically scrolling together with the comments, just like we need it to be. Amazing.
Perfect.
Very good. Now that we have it ready, the next thing that we will do is add some, yes, add the text input at the bottom, because yeah, we need to be able to leave a comment, and also we need to be have a button in order to post it afterwards. For that, let's go underneath the flat list and let's create another view inside here. Just like that. And yes, let me inside it.
But
I
the
need to write.
input,
And
the
here,
input that we want to create should not be at the end of a list. Like we don't have to scroll to get to the input. It should be like always visible on the screen. So that's why you added it besides the flat list, right?
exactly. Yes, exactly. So very, very well pointed out, because otherwise, if we added we can add it as a footer and it will be scrollable, but we don't want to do that. We want to always be on top of everything. So yes, inside here, let's also import the text input. Make sure it's imported from React Native. And let's pass a few properties to the text input
Lucas,
here.
can you stop for a second? It's going to be easier for you. I don't think it auto imports for us, so let's go ahead and import manually.
Okay, yes, most likely it does not because we are using live sharing, but yeah. So it will import for you pressing there, but for us it doesn't. So what you need to do is just scroll to the top, select the React Native, and let's import the text input here at the top from React Native. Inside here, let's pass some properties, as I said. So the first thing that we will do is add a placeholder, and the placeholder is going to be join the conversation. Not correct. Conversation. Yes, very good. Now, another thing that we will need to do is add some styles to it. So let's right away pass a few styles to our text input. And those styles will be simply changing the background color as far as I see. And I already, let me find somewhere, prepare the color. Here, it is here. Okay, and also we will need some padding now around all of the sides. The padding will add 5. And lastly, we will need to add some border radius to the whole box. And it will be border radius 5. So now if we go back to the detail page, we still don't see anything, but shortly we should. Maybe it doesn't sync yet. So let's add some more styles and
Maybe we
see.
can comment over the flat list for a second to see what's going on. So it's here, but it's
Oh
public.
yes, it is exactly. So we can go back and now we'll work on displaying it because we need to also pass some styles to the view itself, basically. So the styles that we will pass here will be first things first, border width, because we will need some border on the bottom. The border should have a width, as you can see in the example. I'm not sure if you do see
I
it
can
though.
share for a second, but wait for me. In the example,
In the it should be in
advent.
the presentation.
Oh, in presentation.
But we will see at the end, and maybe I can
Yep.
comment out all of the styles.
Okay, here, right?
Yes, exactly. So let's go, yeah, let's go here to the code and let's add some styles. First of all, border bottom width. So let's make it a bit bigger. Let's make it 1. We will also need to now define the color of the border. Bottom color will be, let's say, light gray. Now we will also need to add some padding around everything, and let's make it 10. Lastly, we'll make the background color itself from this white-ish to a complete white, and also pass the border radius as 10. Now we also want to add some shadows to this box
Wait,
in order
wait a
to,
second. Maybe it's better to fix like why don't we see it first?
okay, maybe it is. Let me here also add it. It needs to have flex 1 in order to let me save it. And but you still don't see it on the
Maybe
bottom.
it's also the flat list that needs a flex one. Because we need
No,
maybe the flat list is taking way too much space.
it shouldn't. So let's comment out the flat list for now. It will make and let's go back.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, for now, did you say something?
No, no, no.
Yes, for now, let's start working like this, and later on we can push it to the bottom.
Okay.
But so yeah, now that we have this done, what we need to add is some shadows to the view basically, and it is, you can add shadows by going to the shadow generator online, and
Should I
maybe
go?
like find there the ones that you need, but I provided us in the example the shadows that we want. So you can simply copy, yeah, exactly, Vadim is showing where to go, so you can check it out. Yes, you just basically set up what you want, copy all of these styles, go back and paste it inside your styles. But if you don't want to do that, you can simply copy the code that I provided at the end of this this guide, basically. It's going, but now it's okay. We can go back to the code, and yeah, you'll find it at the as a final code, because here there's not much left to do. So if we save it now, because it's not on the bottom, we do not see the shadow itself. So what we need to do is actually we will need to fix this issue of not this. Yes,
Oh, now we see
now
it.
we do display it at the bottom, as you can see. And the problem was actually, it's very weird, because the Flex 1 should have fixed it. So maybe it wasn't synced.
Yeah, maybe.
Because the Flex 1, what it does, it takes up the full space. And that means that basically this is going to be pushed to the bottom. And yes, so it should have fixed. So if I remove yes, here, the shadow, you should, and save it, you should see the difference now. And after I add it back, that code, the shadow should appear a little, as you can see in the, do you see it in the emulator?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Perfect. So
Quick
yes, that's
question.
that.
Quick question. Why do we need the border on bottom? Because we don't
Border
see.
bottom width. If, oh, sorry.
Maybe border on top?
If we remove, later on when we will add the, actually, it's a good point. Like, let's leave it out, because when we add the button and then we add some, because as you can see now, we have some issues that the safe area, our conversation basically reply box is out of the safe area.
Yeah.
So now we will not even see that border bottom, but we will need to add it later on.
Yeah.
So let's leave it for now like this. And it's gonna be necessary when you start typing, basically.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we have it this far, we need to add a possibility to actually start writing in the text input. So as you remember, what we need to do is create a new state. So let's import it from, yes, it's not gonna work for me automatically. So I will need to do import use state from React. Let's save it. And here at the top, I will create a new state. I will call it const comment. And let's have set comment use state. And initially, it's going to be an empty string. And we can type it also, saying that it can be only a string, nothing else. So here. So yeah, we have the state. Now we can go back to our text input below here, and we need to pass it as a value. So we say value, and it's going to be the comment. So now we also need to implement how can that value be changed, and it's going to be changed with onChangeText function. And we simply, what we do here, we take the text and we set it to our state comment, just like that. So now it's going to be always the state updated to the latest text. Perfect. So if we save now and go try opening it, we will see, start typing, I mean, we will see right away an issue that it's only in one line. Like if we write for a little bit more, it's gonna be one line comment, which we don't want. That's bad. So again, simple solution is adding a property called multiline. If we save it, now it's good. It's always going to the bottom, just as we need. So now that we have this, we need a button to be able to post this. So we will do it exactly like Reddit. Under the text input here, we will create a pressable. So we need to, again, go to the top and import it from React Native. Pressable. Now we can scroll back. And in here, let's add the pressable component. Not like that. It needs to be not self-closing because inside we pass what needs to be pressable. And in here, it's actually going to be a simple text, which will, again, not self-closing tag, which will say reply or post. I think it says reply. Okay, so now that we have this, of course, we need to add some styles because now it looks horrible and barely visible. So let's add some styles, first of all, to the pressable itself. First things first, let's define the styles. And here we will add the background color. And I know I have it somewhere. Here it is. So here is the background color. It also needs some now it's like full length, but we will fix it very soon. It also needs some border radius to have the rounded corners, and we will have border radius as 15. Then it needs to have, basically it needs to always stay on the right. So we already learned that. We need to simply pass margin left, and it needs to be auto. So basically to take up all of the space on the left. Perfect. Now we need to also add, because it's sticked to our top input, so we will add margin top 15. And now we can start styling the text itself, because now you, first things first, can't even see the text itself. So we set color as white right away. Now we can at least see it, but it's not fixed yet. So we need to add some padding vertical, which means padding on the side. And the padding vertical, it's going to be, padding on, yes, going to be 5. And padding horizontal is going to be 10. Let me see how it looks. Okay, it's already shaping up. So we also need to add the font, not to the pressable, to the texted side. We need to add font weight as bold. And lastly, we will slightly increase, I'm not sure if that's necessary, but for me it looks a bit too small. So let's slightly increase the font size. And now we can almost have a perfect button. It goes into the unsafe area. So we will solve this now, because we will have more issues here. So for example, to show you, let's open a text keyboard basically right now. And as we can see, we will right away
1 second.
won't, yes,
Keyboard toggle.
yes, we do not see our text below. So we already had this. We know how to solve it. First things first, let's import the keyboard avoiding view. And we will also need to import the platform, because it changes based on Android and iOS how we need to handle it. Then we need to scroll a bit more to the bottom and change this top view with the keyboard avoiding view. Don't forget to change it on the bottom if it did not change for you automatically. And we need to pass the behavior, how it needs to behave, this keyboard avoiding view, because yeah, it changes. So if our platform is iOS, so let's say iOS, then we will use the padding behavior. Otherwise, it's going to be undefined, because Android's default behavior works here. So if we save it, we can see that it did not fix the issue right away. And it's because of the suggestion box and the header at the top. So mainly it's because of the header at the top that we use here. Yes, exactly. So in order to save this, we already used safe area views. I will show you one more way how you can handle it. And when you need, let's say, more
Control.
what?
More control.
Yes, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. More control over your safe areas. So we will import a hook called use safe area insets from React Native safe area context. So now that we have it here underneath, we also need to take those, basically define this hook. Let's call insets equals use safe area insets. Perfect. And now we can use it. So now how do we use it? If we go to the keyboard avoiding view, we will need
Just a
to
quick
add.
explanation. These insets will contain the size of the notches at the top, on the bottom, left, right. So we
Yes.
can dynamically use padding or margin or position when we need like that control.
Yes, exactly. So we will see one very particular case in this view later on, but now let's fix the keyboard. So we need to add here, some keyboard offset. What does it mean? The keyboard vertical offset. What does it mean is that it will basically, when the keyboard avoiding view opens, it does not take into consideration in a way this header at the top. So it displays our input still behind the keyboard. So if we add the offset, will move it higher basically. So we need to add the offset as insets top. So basically we're saying take the header almost height and add it as an offset. So if we would save right now and open, we can see that it almost works. The only thing is that we do not see our reply button. And to solve that, we can actually simply add, like, let's say insets.top plus 10. And now if you would open it, actually it's not loading. Wait a second.
I think it should be more because we see it, but I think
You see it,
insets.
okay?
I
Perfect.
think
So this
we
alone
don't
will
see it
not solve it.
fully. We see part of it, and
Yes,
I believe it
exactly.
should be plus more.
And it's not gonna need to be plus more because if you close the this input, that's what I talked about, this view issue.
Okay.
It's still be below, we still have some problems. So because the reply button goes into unsafe area on the bottom. So to solve this, we can go to the view of our button, and in here we also need to add some padding on the bottom, padding bottom, and it needs to be insets dot bottom. So if we save now, we can see that the button is clearly visible now. And if we open the keyboard, it should be okay here as well. So yes, exactly. If I wouldn't have that plus 10, it would be slightly hidden. Yes, just like that. So we still need that plus 10. Yes, so that's that. And now to follow it up, in theory, this reply button shouldn't be always visible. I'm not sure how necessary it is to showcase, but I have it in my final code and it's very fast to do it. So we will need to create this use state, another state called is input focused, because we only need to show the reply button when the person clicks on the input. Otherwise, it shouldn't be visible because it takes up so much real estate and it's difficult to view, difficult to read the comments. So let's create a new state called is input focused, set is input focused, and we will have it as a state, and it's gonna be initially false because it shouldn't be focused, and it should be only Boolean. It cannot be any other value. So now scroll to the bottom, and on this view that we just added here, actually not on the view, on the pressable only, the reply button, we need to wrap it just like we learned with is input focused. So if the input is focused, we will show this pressable, otherwise it should not be visible at all. So if we save it and now go to our,
Well, I just showed everyone because it was
yes,
a bit of
perfect.
jumping around.
So now we do not see our button, and even if we click on the view, it's not gonna appear. So in order to solve this, text input provides us again with a very good, let's say, property just for that. One of them is on focus called. So basically, when the view is focused, we will call set is input focus to true. I forgot to add the arrows. So now if we basically click on the view, it will show us the reply button, but maybe we can showcase that real quick. Yes, we see the button, and but now if we unfocus it, if we press out of it, it still is there. So what we need to do is simply pass on blur effect. And what it does is it is called when the user clicks somewhere else, basically when the input is unfocused, and we will change it to false. So now it should work perfectly. And yeah, sometimes it's difficult to unfocus. You need to open the real keyboard and then close it, like clicking somewhere else. And now you can see it's unfocused. Now it's focused, you see the reply. Perfect. So now we have done everything that we needed for our text input. We have the avoiding view, everything is working perfect. We are tracking basically whether the reply button, how are we, under which state are we. Now what we need to do is actually implement the replies to the comments. Basically, I mean, not the replies, but showing the replies. We will work on
Shall
the replies
we
itself.
commit first?
Yes, maybe we can commit. That's a good. In the meantime, I'll take a short breather. Okay, I think it's good to go, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So now we are kind of completely done on this screen, and we can go to the comment list item and continue there. Well, we will need to do some more changes in the detail page, but not now. So now here, let's scroll completely to the bottom, and under these icons, the view of these all icons here, you can select here, scroll to the bottom, and yeah, right now you don't see which one, but basically this view, you can see it's connected. Underneath this view, let's add another button, basically, that will be show replies. So if we go to the designs on the presentation, we can see that there is a button show replies, and we need to show this button when there are any basically replies that are associated with this comment. So we will do that, just that. Underneath here, let's create a new
Wait a second, I
view, not
lost
a
you. Okay.
component, but a view. And inside here, actually, we can make it right away pressable. So for you, it's probably going to be imported automatically. For me, it's not happening. So scroll to the top and import pressable from React Native. Let's scroll back. And inside here, we will simply, once again, have a text that will say show replies, I think. Yes, show replies. Now, if we see, it's already displayed. Yes, for me it's a bit difficult because I don't see it on my screen right away, the changes,
Don't
but
you have it on Expo
yeah,
Go?
I am, but it's
Taking.
reloading while I'm typing, and it's sometimes in the red screen. I need to a lot. It's not basically staying in the same screen on
Okay.
my device, but it's okay. I am following from my guts. So yes, now we should see the show replies button. So we need to add some more styles because it does not look good at all. So let's start with the pressable itself. Let's pass the styles. And the first style that we will change is the background color of it. So I have it somewhere. Yeah, it is here. So I pass the background color, and I need to pass it hashed. Yeah. Then we need to add some border radius again to make it the corners a little bit rounded. We need to add some padding on vertical side. Okay. I forgot the comma. Now we need to align the items in the middle because it's not currently. And I think that should be it. Let me check out. Yes, I think it's pretty good.
Yep.
Let's pass some more styles for the text itself. So first things first, very easy. Let's make the font size 12. It should be a little bit smaller. We also need to definitely add some letter spacing, 0.5. We need to add font, make it a little bit bolder, but it should not be bold. It should be slightly bigger than the default, which is 500. And lastly, we will pass the color of, once again, I have it here, and the color will be this. So now that we have it, basically our show replies completely styled, um, we need to decide when this should be visible, this button.
Wait a
And
second, I lost you. I don't know where you are. At the button?
yes, I am at the, but I am, yes, here, exactly. So we need to know when this button should be visible. So once again, we will, and also when the user clicks the reply, show replies, we need to know when he did that. So first of all, let's once again wrap it inside kind of an if statement, let's say, and there will be a few criteria when this button should be visible. But the most important one, and the first one, is going to be when the comment has some replies, at least one reply, not length, at least one reply, we will be definitely displaying this show replies. So if we save it, we can, because both of these comments have replies, it doesn't change really much here, but it would if it wouldn't have any
Just
replies for you.
to bring this point home, if we look at the data, a comment has an array replies. So if this array is empty, that means there is no replies. So that's how we are
Yes.
checking, like, should we show the button at all or not?
Yes, exactly. So now we covered one of the cases when it should be visible. Another case should be when we click the show replies button itself, we should not show it anymore. So, and also we should display more comments. So first things first, right away, we can think of what we need is the state to control these things. So let's import at the top.
Wait a second, I lost you again. Okay.
Use state, and it's going to be from React. Perfect. So now we can create this state, and we will call it something like is show replies. Well, doesn't sound well, but let's stick with it. I know you will create a better name. Said is show replies. And we will make it a state. Initially, it's going to be false because we do not want to show the replies right away. Well, it depends on your use case, but we do not. And it can be only a Boolean, so let's type it. Perfect. So now if we scroll here to the bottom, another, back to our basically button, another, how to say, another
Condition.
Yeah, another condition is that it needs to be show replies. No, is show replies, and double is show replies needs to be false. And we show it only if the show replies is false. Otherwise, we do not show this. So if we save it now, we can see that we are still seeing them because we did not press any button. But if we add to our pressable the on press, what it actually expects to have, in this on press, we will call a function here, set is show replies to true. Basically, we need to tell that, okay, person pressed on this button and now we need to show the replies. So if we click on any of the show replies, for now we will not see the comments, but the button would disappear because we have this condition here at the top. So yes, just like that. So later on, we will hide the button and also show the replies itself. Perfect. So let's leave it like that for now, and let's work on actually displaying the replies. So we can go a bit here, probably further, and let's maybe add some comments in order not to make it a bit cleaner. So here is show replies button, and we will also copy it, and under here we will add um, list of replies. Perfect. I like it to be clean. So now in order to display the list of replies, very easily, again, when you hear a list, you should right away start thinking about the flat list. Almost always, but let's go to the top, and we need to also import the flat list here inside React Native. So we can go back to the bottom, and as data, we will pass the comment and the replies of that comment. So this is going to be the data it needs to loop through. And now we need to also explain how to render it. So here it's going to be I'm not sure if it's more confusing, but it might be a bit different than you would expect. But we will call ourselves. So basically, this flat list will recursively call the comment list item function itself. So basically, we call it here, first of all, as a list, not here, here. Comment list item, this to render all the top level comments. But in order to render the deeper comments, because we need to keep the style like exactly the same in a way. So we will call recursively ourselves, which is gonna be comment list item. And we know that we also need to pass the comment itself. So the comment, bless you,
Thank you.
is going to be the item. So now if we save it and open our yes, we can right away see the comments, but the problem is that they are displayed all the time. There's no condition when to show them or when to hide them. So what we need to do is once again wrap it inside JSX basically expression and say that we will only show the comments when is show replies is true. So basically when the user pressed that he wants to see the replies, that's when we will render all of the replies for this exact comment. So now if we try to go, it only loads the comments after pressing the show replies button. Okay,
And
so
this one has 3 levels of replies, right?
yes, then now you have 3 levels of replies. But as you can see, it's kind of difficult to see the levels also. So, but
One
we will
second.
solve.
Uh, I see. I'm not sure if you plan to solve it. Most probably you do, but we have this error, and I wanted to point out to people watching a very common error like this. You see, text string must be rendered within a text.
Yes.
So, can I explain that, or do you want
Yes.
to?
Yep.
So the problem that we see here usually means that somewhere in our code we are rendering something that is not within a text. So this is always going to show an error. And this is a very common mistake when you start and you come back, find like where you're rendering this text and you put it inside a text like this. The problem is that if we look in our code, it's nowhere we are actually showing a text within text because this is a text within text, like everything looks good. So the problem is actually this condition.
Yes.
The condition, because with the AND operator, what actually happens is we are using it like an if statement, but basically we are using a feature of JavaScript that is not supposed for that. Like what JavaScript is doing when we have AND operation, it's going to return, like execute or look at the values one by one, starting with the first one, and we'll see if this one is true, that means that the whole AND operator has a chance to be true. So it's going to go next. If this one is true, then it still has a chance to be true. It's gonna go next. And it comes here and it basically returns this value
Yep.
because it's the last one. However, as soon as one of these is false, that means that that's it. Like the whole AND operator has no chance to become true because any value and false is going to become false. So
Yep.
JavaScript, to optimize how it evaluates these Boolean expressions, it's going to stop even looking at everything else if one of these is false in an AND operator. So what ends up happening is it's actually not going to show it, but it's going to return this one here. And if this is a boolean, like in show replies, it's good because if I do false here, it should be good. I mean, not like this, maybe like this. It's going to be good. Rendering false is perfectly fine. But here we have length. So what ends up
Yep.
happening is we are trying to render 0. When length is 0, 0 is a false value. So in a Boolean expression, 0 is going to be considered false. But when it's returned like 0. So that's where this issue is coming from. To solve it, we transform a true or false value to an actual true or false, to a boolean.
Yep.
And to do that, can you move a cursor? Because it's going to
Yep.
be, yeah. To do that, we add double negation. So one time if we negate, it becomes a boolean, but it's going to be the reverse. And if we do it once more time, it's going to be back if it was falsy. And falsy means either 0 or undefined or null or actual false. It becomes a boolean, which is strictly false, and now the error disappears. This is a
Yes.
very common mistake, like, and I believe it's very confusing when you're getting started, like why is it happening? And I will always get into these mistakes because you don't think about it. Like you think logically, like if it's falsy, it's good, but then this falsy bites you in the in the ass.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, very, very well said. I wouldn't have gotten into so much detail, but I think it's very important to explain, and it's good that you stopped and explained it very, very, very well. So, yeah, um, I think we can continue, but do remember this, as this is gonna be very common while developing. So, to continue, now we still have one more basically use case to solve, because currently we in theory can render as many replies as we want, and we would be rendering them as a reply, as a reply, as a reply until it gets out of the screen, or basically you cannot even see the text. So how Reddit is handling, and how we will do as well, Reddit is only rendering at most 5 or 6 levels of comments. If you render, like if you want to see more comments after level 5, you need Reddit will open a new screen where the comment that you clicked show replies on will be the top level comment, and then you'll display the rest. We will not do this exactly like with opening a new screen, as this is, you can do it very easily as a homework, or maybe you don't even need this use case. But what we will do is we will keep track of the depth, and also we will be keep tracking of when should we actually show the comments and when not, based on that. So in order to handle this depth level issue, we go back to our detail post screen, and inside the render item, comment list item, we need to pass the depth of which we are right now. So just because this list inside the detail post renders only the top level comments and nothing else, that means that the depth is going to be 0. Basically, it says I am the top level 1 comment. If we go back to the comment list item, now we need to accept, first of all, this prop. So let's do it here. And also now we need to fix that TypeScript issue. So let's say that we should expect depth, and it should be a number, or is it an integer? Let's see. It's a
It's
number.
number.
Yes, a number. So yeah, now we fixed it. So if we scroll to the bottom, we do remember now that this is calling itself recursively, this list of replies. So if we hover on, it also says that, oh, I need depth as well because it is required. So we will pass depth here as well. But because this is not a top level comment, it's somewhere in the nested replies, what we will do, we will take the depth level that we passed here. So initially it's gonna be 0 because we are like after going from the top comment to the first reply of it, it's going to be now at the level 2, let's say. So we will take the depth that is we are currently on and add 1, making basically saying that, okay, so I am actually render me another comment, but this is no longer a top level comment, but let's say a reply to the top level comment. Because basically we render this again later on, like as a reply, and if that reply has more replies, now the depth will be 1, and here we're saying render my replies, which is going to be at level 2 and 3 and 4. So it's always going to be increasing the depth, and yeah, we'll be able to know very easily how deep are we in right now. So
That
now
sounds
how we
weird, but if we
what
cut it out of a context,
what? Oh yeah, it sounds weird.
we just need to know
Y-
how deep we are.
yeah, we need to know. We need to keep track of that. It might be like sound a bit confusing, and if it is, leave me a comment, and I'll write you a diagram, draw it in, and add it to the Notion step-by-step guide.
No, I think it's super clear. Like at least for me, maybe yeah. Like it's how is it called? Like the recursive part is a bit confusing, but if we don't think about recursiveness, it's quite simple. Like uh, a comment like this one is level 1 in the
Yeah,
presentation. Inside the level 1, it's level 1 plus 1. So it's going to
yeah,
be this one level 2. Or maybe like, yeah, this is level 0 because this is a top comment.
yes,
And then 0 plus 1, this is level 1. And we just move a little bit to the left because it's
yeah,
level 1. And all the replies of this comment is going to be level 1 plus 1, which is 2, moving
yeah,
even more to the left. And that's how we will keep track of at what layer it is, how deep it is.
yes. Yeah, exactly. So now, first of all, the right away, what I want to solve, because for me right now, it's very difficult to track which of them are replies and which of them are not replies. We're going to go to our comment list item, scroll to the view, the main view of it, and under it, let's add a border border left width, and basically, if we will say, if we are on a deeper level than 0, show a line on the not like this, show a line on the left to showcase that like the level better, basically. So now if we open the replies, we can see a little bit of visual clarity of not sure if you see it,
Yeah, we
but
see it. Yeah.
perfect. So yeah, you can see a little bit of visual clarity of on which level are we by displaying this border left with icon. Perfect. So yeah, I really wanted to solve this, and now we can go scroll to the comments, to the show replies button. So as I said, because we don't want to allow opening like million level replies, we will only show replies up to the level 5. So what we need to do here is simply add another condition, and that condition is simply going to be if the depth level is basically lower than 5. We can show this, but otherwise, if it's like bigger than 5, then we will not show it anymore. And I will wrap it in these parentheses. Just, you don't need to, it will work. It's just cleaner for me to see where is the condition and where do we actually render. So if we save now we will not render more, like we will not be able to press show replies on level 6 or more comments. In theory, you would probably want to still show that, but maybe, I'm not sure. We can show it to like adding a new screen, but let's do it
I think this is
afterwards
good
if
with
we
this.
still
Yeah.
have time, because
Yeah.
we are already in for quite a lot and we still want to show so much for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, now we will handle it simply like this. So what's next? Let's see. So we are calling yes. So now what we need to do is we need to be able to actually reply to these comments. Because now if you, in the main screen, if you click join the conversation and type something, you will simply going to post a top level comment.
A
But
post.
let's say I want to reply to someone. Well, it's not possible for now. So in order to solve this issue, what we will do is, first things first, we go to the detailed post, and at the top here, we can already remove this console like this. Yes, and in here we can create a new function, and we will call it handle reply button pressed. Very mouthful. And inside here, for now, let's simply not comment, console log the ID of the comment that we are pressing reply on. So in order to know that, first of all, we also need to get here the comment ID, and then we can console log it. Now it right away is complaining that has any like comment has any type, and of course we cannot leave it like that because red looks bad. So we need to specify what type this comment needs to be, and in our case it's going to be a string, because if you go to data and comments, you can see that the comment ID, which is here, is a string. So perfect. Now we can go back to our code. So what we need to do now is pass this function to every comment list item of ours. So let's scroll here, and at the end, pass handle. Let's make it shorter. Reply press. Or no, I will keep it exactly the same. So let's do this. It's a very long name for a function, but yeah, we are very specific. So now if you hover, we already are seeing the issue that a comment list item does not expect to get a handle reply pressed function. So if we go back to our comment list item code, scroll to the top, and we need to add it as a new property, basically, that it should expect. So it should expect a function that we just created. It should expect, this function should have a comment ID, and it is of type string, and it also does not need to return anything. So we can say it returns void, because yeah, it does not return anything. And now if we go back to our ID, we can see that the error disappeared to detail post, I mean. So now we are good here. We don't no longer need to do any changes for now. We can go and solve the issues in comment list item, because if we scroll here, we will see in the recursive calling that it also complains that it does not have the function. And now we are not passing this handle function to deeper levels of comments. So we will solve this issue exactly the same. And yes, actually I forgot to import it also here at the top with comment depth, and also we need to import the function itself. And now it's perfect. So if we right now go to our comments, and here I will need Vadim to showcase it. So go to, not here, I mean, go to the detail post page.
Oh,
Yes. And if we open the terminal as well. Oh, one last
I didn't
change
import it.
actually that we will need to do is, inside the comment list item, we need to find the here the reply button, the reply icon. So in here we need to call this function that we just passed. Because yeah, once you click on the reply icon, that means we need to reply. But if we call it simply, we see that, okay, it's complaining about something, and it's complaining that we're not passing the comment ID. So in order to get the comment ID, we simply do comment dot, and we can see that we have the ID, and this comment is coming from here as a property. So now actually, if we do it, if we open the terminal, and if we go click on a reply button somewhere, we can see that we are console logging right away the comment ID that we want to reply to. Okay, that's good, but now we are getting into another issue. Because the text input is not being focused. So even if I click reply, how do I type it? And to solve this, we will be introducing use ref. I'm not sure if we already worked with it in this. I don't remember in this tutorial, but I
To be
have
more
a little bit.
clear, just to be more clear, like what Lucas is trying to do, and this is like quite advanced. Like Lucas is very attentive to details. Is he wants when we press on reply to automatically focus on this one and open the keyboard. Like the keyboard is going to be open whenever we focus here on a real device. So that's what Lucas wants to implement, like automatically focusing here if we press apply on one of these items. Lucas, we lost you. Wait a second. Um, Give me just 1 second. I'm going to find Lucas. Let's go find Lucas. Lucas, you're back, I hope.
I hope so as well. Yes. Not sure what happened.
Yeah, that's Streamlabs. So yeah,
Yeah,
I was
but
explaining that we want to, when we press on reply, we want to automatically focus um, on the input and open basically the keyboard. The keyboard
yes,
actually opens automatically when we focus on the input on a real device. So
yes,
the goal is to focus there.
exactly. So yeah, we will use a hook called use ref. And now we also need to import it from React inside our, not inside comment list item, mistake here, inside the ID, because that's where we have our text input.
Let
So
me
inside
see
a
where you
detailed,
are. Okay, yeah, here you are.
yeah, inside the detailed page of our application, post detail. So scroll at the top, import use ref, and now, so I have some more information about use ref inside the step-by-step guide, but very briefly, I also want to comment out here as well. So unlike use8, use ref is a hook that provides a way to basically persist value across renders without causing any re-renders when the value changes. So how useState works is if we change the state, we will also re-render the whole screen. So just like comments, when we are typing, we need to re-render the whole screen in order to see new letters appearing. But use ref, you can change that however you want, and that value, and it will not re-render the component. Also, you can attach this reference to some of the components, which is exactly what we will do now. And how to do it? So, well, first of all, let's, as I showed, import the use ref. Underneath here, let's do it maybe under our states. We will also create a reference variable, and we will call it, usually when you're creating these reference variables, you want to show that, okay, this is a reference. So we do input ref. So this last ref is kind of important just for readability. And then we say it's use ref, and the type of it will be either a text input from React Native, or it will be null. So if it's not attached, it might be also null reference. So now how do we attach this reference to like a component? Well, it's kind of easy. You scroll, let's say, to the text input, and text input, we can also pass like a ref saying that, okay, so, oh, not like that, ref. So we're saying, okay, basically attach this reference that we just initialized to this text input component. So we will see very soon how it works and what is it. No overload matches this call.
Should it be type of text input in the types here when we define the ref?
Types here.
Isn't it type of text input? If I
Hmm.
do it like this, let me check.
I think you can pass. Oh, the thing is also that, not sure if this will solve. I don't think you need the type of, but
You
we
need the null
also
here.
need to initialize it at first with the null, but actually we'll it also really depends. Like it's not mandatory to have it as a null here, but yeah, we will provide a default value. But why it says, okay, now it's no longer complaining. So if we remove the null, okay,
Yeah,
then it's complaining. So actually it is
it's important. Yeah.
it's important to add null here. So, well, here you go. You'll learn. And I made a mistake here. Null. Okay, so now it is actually attached itself to this text input. So yeah, this is kind of advanced stuff. You don't really do this that often, but sometimes you might need. And we're doing this in order to be able to programmatically control the text input, which means that when we call this handle reply button pressed, what we need to
1
do
second. Yeah.
is
Handle reply
what?
button pressed.
Yes. What you need to do is you need to somehow make the text input focused. And the easiest way is like to do it programmatically, because otherwise the text input doesn't know when it needs to be focused and what not. So we will do input ref dot current. So basically that's how you access the value of the reference. And then we say if we have it, so we add this conditional
Checking.
parameter. Yeah, exactly. Then we will focus this input. So basically, this is how you can programmatically focus the text input. And if we go save it and now try to do it, you can see that it opens up right away and focused with the text input. So
So
yeah,
as soon as I
again,
press
this
on reply, it automatically opens.
yeah, exactly. This is a bit more advanced, as we said, but you should not expect doing to do this like very often, but it's good to know that you can do things like that.
Cool.
So now,
Another thing that we learned during this tutorial.
yep. So yeah, now one last thing that I really want to showcase. It's also going to be a little bit more advanced, but I think you should know these kind of things. And if you want more details, feel free to leave comments. Really try to, and Vadim also tries to like reply to them. Of course, it's a very long, very old video. Maybe it might be more difficult, but we do try it our best. So now what we will do is, in order to test and see the problem, we go to the comment list item component, and inside here, let's console log at the top saying I am, maybe, I am rendered. Just like that. If I save this and go here, open, yes, exactly. Open the terminal and let's give it a second to load. Let me take. Okay, almost. Yeah. Now let's go to the detailed post and start typing something inside the join the conversation. So if you type letters, you can see that all of these comments are being re-rendered on every button pressed. So you can imagine it's very bad for performance and inefficient, especially if you have a lot of comments. This needs to
1
be
second.
solved. And yes, okay. Yep, very, very good. Let me take a water break. Yep. So, yeah, very good. Okay, so now we need to solve this. And again, we can think about how, why is it re-rendering? Well, it's kind of easy. It's because, well, it's not easy, but yeah, it's because every time you type in something inside the keyboard, we are changing the state. And as I explained before, when you change the state, the whole component is being re-rendered from top to bottom. Basically, it goes from top here, check and re-renders or renders again every line in order to like basically show you the changes. That's like a very simple way of explaining it. Behind the scenes, it's a lot more complicated, but that's a good way to understand it. And basically, when it gets to this comment list item part, it needs to also re-render it because it's part of the component, it's part of the function, and it needs to be showed again. It does not know that, okay, we did not change anything here. It still thinks, okay, probably you did change something here. So in order to solve this issue, let's go to our comment list item and at the top from React, import one little thing called memo. And then after we import it, we can scroll to the bottom and wrap the export of our comment list item with this memo. So let's do this and let's say comment list item. So now you might be thinking that, well, the problem should be solved. It's not exactly solved yet. And it is not solved because if we go to the detailed page, the one difference between, so what memo does in general, first of all,
Yep.
it compares the, it prevents unnecessary re-renders by comparing whether the props that you are passing to this comment list item have changed or not. And well, you might be thinking, okay, but we did not change any props. Nothing changed. The comment did not change. The depth did not change. And the handle reply button press did not change. Well, you would not because the function handle reply button press did change. And I will explain you why it changed now and how to prevent it. So basically, a memo performs a shallow comparison, and I will go back to what shallow means but now stay with me. So yeah, a memo performs shallow comparison of properties. So when a new function is created on each render, its reference still changes. So basically, it's causing the memo to think that, okay, the props are changing and I need to re-render, even though the function logic is the same. And what is a shallow comparison? Because that was a very comparison checks if the two values are the same by comparing their reference in memory, not their contents itself. So for primitive values like numbers, strings, booleans, it checks if they're like strictly equal with like this. So it would say if string equals
Lucas, I'm not sure
string,
where you are. One
but
second.
for
Can you hear me?
I think yes, I think it I showed here. So I think they saw like it checks if okay, if string equals string. That's what it does for primitive values like strings, booleans, integers. But for functions, objects, and arrays, it checks if their reference is exactly the same in a memory location. And when React component re-renders, because we're rendering, because we're changing the state, the entire function is going to be executed again. And by we here,
Lucas,
I mean
can we,
about this function.
Lucas, can we stop for a second?
Yes?
Uh, I think I am having some troubles with the internet.
Ooh.
Let me see if I can. We are still live, that's good, but I was having some poor internet connection. Let me think what I should stop.
Hmm.
There is nothing much I can stop. Guys, give us a second. We're just double checking to make sure that everything is good here with the internet. Lucas, can you talk something? Because
Yep. Hello, hello.
okay.
Um. Hmm. Is it better or it's still
I think it should be better. I'm just double checking if everything is good
okay?
because there were some dropped frames and I'd rather wait for a bit for the network to be better and to deliver it better because you're covering a very important topic right now.
Yeah.
Hmm. Can anyone in the
I
chat
see that
confirm
it
if
still
everything is
says that.
good? You see what?
I see that it says that like it's hard to maintain smooth streaming connection because
Yeah.
it's not receiving enough video.
Yeah, I also see that. That's why. And I think it's still happening. Skipped frames. What should I
Maybe
close? Close Zoom. But you need Zoom, right?
guys, if there's someone, maybe you could double check if the actually it's good or not.
Or if it's better right now.
Yeah, at least that.
Let me close WhatsApp. So I'm gonna look into the activity network activity monitor.
Okay.
It should be better right now, but yeah, just double checking. Network. Yeah,
Okay.
OBS is and Zoom as well. And ngrok. Do you use ngrok?
You use it for
No, I mean,
tunnel,
do
but
you need it?
no, you can, yeah, stop it. I will use.
So let me try to stop the ngrok with start it without a tunnel. Okay.
I think it will improve right away quite a bit.
Yeah, the toughest one is probably Zoom after OBS, obviously. But that one we needed. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh,
Still not the excellent quality.
yeah. ¿Qué pasa? Stream health. Poor.
Hmm.
But I don't have drop frames any longer. So maybe it's better. Let's see. One second and we can then try again.
That's what life does. You see everything, the good and
Yes.
the bad.
Okay. So where do we want to get back to?
I'm not sure when it started to drop, but maybe in that case, like completely from beginning.
Yeah, I don't think like doing once again like the memo is going to hurt.
Okay, so now let's do some control Z's. That's one of the better buttons.
I can do even
I
like
mean,
a
combinations probably.
stash. And please let us know
The
in the
stat.
chat if everything is good right now.
Yep. So do we start again from showing the problem as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, no problem. Let's start with the problem.
Okay. So now you might see that even though we can reply and everything is good, we do have one little issue. And that's why I added here like console log. So in order to showcase you that issue. So if we open now the reply button, the reply text input, I mean, and start replying something, we're seeing that on every little button pressed, it re-renders the whole comment list item component with all the comments. So if you have millions of comments, even I would say thousands, it's gonna be horrible for performance. And we do need to solve it somehow. Well, the solution of solving this issue
First of all, why
will
does it
be,
happen? Why does it re-render?
oh, exactly. So why does it re-render also? The thing is, after you update, so if we go back to the detail post, and after you update the state, as I mentioned to you, it re-renders the whole function body, everything from top to bottom. It re-renders every line, and it's in general, let's say, putting very simply, behind the scenes, it's a bit more complicated. But what so basically, when you change a letter here, it re-renders this whole flat list, and with it, it re-renders the comment list item. And when it does that, even though we don't change the comment, we don't change the depth, we don't change this function, it's still being re-rendered because it does not know that, okay, this should not be re-rendered. It thinks, okay, I'm doing this one. And then inside here, we are re-rendering every comment inside this flat light. So basically all of the levels on every button pressed because the state is being updated. In order to solve this issue, we can go to the comment list item component that we just created, scroll to the top first of all, and import one little thing called memo. Then after importing it, we can scroll to the bottom and wrap our export inside this memo. So let's wrap memo comment list item. Now, it will not solve the problem right away, but I will quickly explain to you what the memo does itself. So, so the memo is a way for you to, memo basically prevents unnecessary re-renders of the components if the props that we are passing to this component, basically if comment, depth, and handle button press does not change. But you might be wondering, so yeah, but nothing changes, but we still re-render. Why is that happening? And it is happening because of this handle reply button press function. And we will solve it later on as well. But how memo works is it performs a shallow comparison of props, and I will get back to what shallow means. So, but when a new function is created on each render, because as I told you, once we change the state, everything from top is recreated, which means this function will be recreated again. But so it is recreated, and it is basically, yeah. So when
It gets
performs,
a new address. It's
yes, it gets basically a new address, a new location inside the memory. And that's why Memo is thinking, okay, the props have changed. I need to re-render the whole component, even though we did not change anything here. Okay, but now we might be wondering, so why is that happening? And it is quite, it comes back to the shallow comparison thing I talked about. So a shallow comparison checks if two values are the same by comparing their references in memory, not their contents. So for primitive values like numbers, strings, or booleans, it checks like this. That's why we don't really have an issue, let's say, with this component. I mean, with this property. But for objects, arrays, and functions, it checks if their reference is exactly the same in memory allocation. And when we recreate it, it gets stored every time in a new address. So if at first it was zip code of 1111, now when you recreate it, it can be 1112. So now it's no longer in the same location in the memory. That's why this memo does not work, because it thinks that the function completely changed. So that's like very, very high level explanation of how it works. But now, how do we prevent this from happening? And for that, we can go to our detail post component. And inside here at the top, where we import useState and useRef, import one hook called useCallback. And what we will need to do now here is we need to, in a way, wrap our handle reply button press function inside that hook. It's going to look like this, const. Then we give it a name. So the name will be exactly the same, this one, but then it will change a bit. We say it equals to use callback. We pass here the, let's say, all the properties that you want to pass to the function. So in this case, we need to pass the comment ID of string, as we here have it. And then inside here, we will say, okay, so not here, inside here, we will say what needs to be done when this function is called. So for that, we need to do exactly the same as we did in the function previously. So we can copy and paste the body of it. Now we can remove the previous function, but now use callback also has, you can also pass to it dependencies to let the use callback know when it needs to be re-rendered, because there might be a case where you actually need to re-render and recreate this function. For I will, actually we can see the example right away, to be honest, or no, I will show you later. So now with passing it empty, we're saying, okay, we only need to create it once, and we will not need to recreate it, basically. It will stay like that all the time. So now, if we go and try to do the same test, so open comment, and if I did not forget anything, if I start typing, we see that it's not being re-rendered anymore. So everything works as it should, which means that combining the use callback and memo, we managed to make it like work. Because yeah, like why we need to use both memo and use callback, it's because the memo will prevent the re-renders of the comment list item, as I mentioned, but only if the props do not change. Without use callback, handle reply function would be recreated on every render. I'm going back and putting like points of what I explained before, but I really want you to understand. This means that the props will change whenever we type, since the component re-renders on each key press, which makes memo completely ineffective. But when we use callback, it ensures that the handle reply button pressed function doesn't change the location in the memory, which allows memo to properly optimize the re-renders and not re-render whenever we type something or change the state. So now, to show you also how the dependencies work, I will, let's say, comment here instead of console, instead of comment ID, I will console log the comment itself. And let's say if we right now inside open the terminal real quick and press reply button anywhere, not show reply, but reply. Not this one, but the icon button. So yes, did I saved it? Yes, it should. Yeah, you can see that it says hello world, the comments are not re-rendered. Good. If you click again, you will see that exactly the same. But you might be wondering, why is that happening? Our text input is completely empty. Like, why does it re-render this comment? And well, it is happening because we said here in the dependency array that no matter what, do not re-render this function. I know that it does not need to be recreated. But if we pass the comment itself as a dependency here, and now try to do the same, we will see that the comment is always going to be changed. So don't mind, because now if we're typing, we're saying like when the comment changes, we render everything.
Yeah,
So
this is
don't
just
mind those
to show.
console logs. What?
Yeah, this is just to show.
Yes.
But now,
So it updates the comment basically. If you type something and click reply again, you see that, okay, so now we're showing the latest comment, but we do not, that's what we're trying to solve.
avoid.
So we definitely don't want to pass here the comment. So don't forget to remove it. And here we will console the comment ID. So yes, that's basically how it works. One very important thing to mention: do not use this memo everywhere on all of your components, because even though you are sometimes making the performance better, what this does, it uses the memory of your device. So if you store everything in memory, it also not gonna perform very well. So you need to only use this memo, let's say, in such an expensive functions like this one, which re-renders like thousands of comments and causing huge re-renders. That's why it's very like uh, probably sometimes it's even better maybe not to use it instead of overusing it.
Yeah.
So make
Yeah, I
sure to
think a
use it
couple of
only on very
re-renders
expensive
here and
functions.
there. I think a
Yes?
couple of re-renders here and there is not gonna hurt your application.
Yes.
That's how React was built. Was like, okay, like having a set of data, which is our state. If that state changes, we're gonna simply re-render everything, because that's faster than finding what exactly we should
Yeah.
re-render. So that is the whole psychology of React and how it works. And this memo and use callback and use memo, they should be used only when you detect a performance issue, you find what's causing that, and then you solve it with this. So use
Yeah.
it as a solution to a problem rather than always using them.
Exactly. It's as we mentioned, an advanced topic. So don't feel like I wasn't really understanding these things as well, like when I just started. So don't beat yourself down because of that. You're just starting and it's gonna grow onto you. Later you'll understand when you need to use it and when not. You will understand what functions are expensive or components
Yep.
which are not, and then you will be able to apply
Yep.
these accordingly.
That's
But
good.
yes,
That's good that you mentioned, because I think like use callback memo and use memo is fundamentally not unlocking any new possibilities.
no,
Like what you can do without them, like it's gonna work perfectly fine.
yeah,
But in some cases and in some edge cases, it's going to be a bit slow when you're going to
yeah,
have large lists. So these are going to simply work for performance. So if you don't know them, don't stop. Like just go even without use callback, use memo and stuff like that. Don't worry. Like I'm pretty sure there are thousands of applications in production. They never use callback or memo and stuff like that.
I
And they
can
work
assure
totally
you
fine.
100,000,000%
I'm sorry?
of that, and Vadim said it very well. It's used in very edge cases. Don't forget this.
Yeah.
So,
And the,
yeah,
and the thing is that with React compiler, these are not going to be needed because React will, the React compiler at build time will compile and will memorize for us everything. So hopefully in a couple of years, this is not even going to be a thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yes, I think that's what I wanted to showcase you. Hopefully everything was clear. If not, again, for the UI part, like comment, I'll try to reply. If I see a comment that pops up often, I will adjust the step-by-step guide. I'll try to keep on improving it, and I'll try to keep on improving myself in my explanations for the future
It was
videos. So
perfect.
stay tuned.
It was perfect. So that is our UI, right?
Yes, that is our UI.
Before we move next, I actually not to forget, I wanted to ask your opinion on something. And this is not nitpicking. Maybe I'm wrong. Uh, maybe not. So the thing that I saw is you inside the comment list item, right?
Yep.
You have used a flat list to render the replies. So
Yep.
basically inside an item, you used a flat list.
You
I'm not
could
sure why we do not see a warning, but if we think about where is that flat list rendered, this flat list is rendered inside the details page.
Yep.
And the details page, this comment
Has a
list
flat.
item is inside another flat list.
Yep.
And on React Native, like usually when we have flat list inside a flat list or any scroll view inside this scroll view with the same direction, so both are vertical scrolling, it should raise an error and show
Yep.
that a warning, like you cannot have like scroll views in scroll views.
Especially if you use like a flat list in a scroll view, you would 100% see this
For
error.
example, if you put a scroll view on top of a flat list, which a flat list behind the scenes is a scroll view,
Yep.
we're going to see this virtualized list should never be nested inside plain scroll views with the same orientation because it can break windowing and other functionalities. Use another virtualized back container instead. So that means we cannot use flat list in a flat list. I'm not sure why they didn't raise the error, so that's a bit confusing for me, but logically, like it's inside, it's a flat list inside a flat list.
In theory, you probably it would even be better to use here a dot map for those.
Yeah.
But in that case, it's very important so we can change to it. But
Like
I'm
for
not sure if
example, a flat list is a simple for each loop, like mapping over the data, and for each item there, rendering this one. So you can, yes, flat list has a lot of other things behind the scenes. It's not just as simple as that. So that's why we are using flat list. But for small applications, we can recreate it. So I'm going to comment it out. And for example, we can start with the same is show replies. Or maybe I'm going to start right away with comment dot replies, and then we are gonna map through these replies, and for every item, we can keep it as item as well. For every item in that array, we're going to render a comment like this. And now it should still work, but it says that each item should have a unique key. Whenever we do map, we need to provide a key so that React knows how to optimize this list as well. And the key should be unique to this item, and it can be item.id because item.id is a unique key. And now it still works, and I'll just have to put the condition is show replies and do that. So now it works again,
So
but it's not a scroll view itself. It's not a scroll view, it's not a flat list, it simply grows the component, and because the parent component is scrollable, like it works like this.
yeah, I double checked it also now, and so rendering like flat list in the scroll view is strictly bad, like 100%. But flat list inside a flat list is not in like, so you could use it that way, but I would still agree that map in this case is better. And why, like, yeah, like I will not get into details why, but it's because of also virtualization, and having a flat list inside a flat list will not throw an error, and it's inherently not a bad like a practice or anything, but yes. So, but scroll view, flat list inside a scroll view is definitely bad.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So flat
I
list
just
inside a flat
read
list is
it
good, yeah?
because yeah,
Flat list inside a flat list is good.
it's not inherently like a bad practice
Mm-hmm.
or anything. That's why
Okay.
you don't see the like a
The warning.
warning or
Mm-hmm.
error, because there are sometimes cases when you also need to render horizontal flat list inside a
Yeah,
vertical flat list.
horizontal flat list inside vertical flat list is fine because it's that's why how I thought, because it's a different direction.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it's
but yeah, I was thinking that if you cannot do like flat list in scroll view, that also means that you cannot do flat list in flat list. Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
I also have to check more about that, and maybe indeed like nothing wrong with this one. How do we
yeah,
proceed? We can leave both of them.
yeah.
One of
It
them can
depends.
be
Like
commented.
not sure. Like yeah, in this case, I'm not sure what is better. The thing is that with flat list, you could also handle very easily like the loading more comments, and also it's virtualized. So if there's millions of replies, it's better for performance, I would assume.
But how would you render the load more here? You mean like on end reach?
That's already, I don't think you can use it anymore.
Yeah,
But
that's the thing. Like if this is a flat list and the
when does
parent
it
is a
reach
flat
the end?
list,
Yeah, what's the end?
whose on end reach is going to call
Yeah, yeah. That's actually a very interesting topic.
to discuss? Yeah. Okay. So let's go with this simple mapping because it kind of feels more correct. But most probably this one is correct as well. So I might be wrong here. Let's
Yep.
go ahead and do git status, git add, git map instead of flat list. Perfect. And now what I'm going to do is git push origin UI comments. So just a note for Catalin, this is not going to be in the end video, but for everyone who is following this live or the recording, what we have to do is we have to merge all the changes that we have done on the UI for the comments in the main branch that also has the backend that we've done in the previous episode. So I'm going to go into our guide, and here we have GitHub. And let's go ahead and we see that I just pushed a new branch UI components. Let's do compare the pull and create a pull request. And we're gonna merge in the main. The main branch already has the code from the previous part related to backend. We see that there are some conflicts. Let's try to resolve them. This is the environment, and we are going to need both of them. Then there is the ID, and here is what the imports from the UI components. Oh, okay, this is going to be a bit harder to merge here. Should I try to merge them locally? I think it might be easier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to being inside the UI components, I'm going to merge the main back here. Git merge main. And we have the same conflicts. In the .env file, it's not going to be hard to fix because we just simply need all of them. But in the detail screen, it's a bit more. So let's open the detail screen.
Keep in mind, guys, that you do not need to do any of
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah, this is only for us because we kind of moved back in time.
Yep.
What's going on here? This is the imports. So the imports are easy. I can simply take all of them, even from here and from here, and then figure out like what I need imported. Then the other part I have to do is this detailed post, which has what? This, okay, I'm going to move from top to bottom what we don't have. For example, set comment, I'm going to move here. Is input focused and input ref and insert and detail post and this one and this one. I'm going to move here. Going to remove this part. Don't get confused, guys. It's okay. Like
just don't do any changes yet until we say okay, let's continue.
Post.
You can now take a coffee break or a water break.
So this is in the main. What did we do?
Or you can see how conflicts are being solved. You will need this as well if you're working in a team, especially.
Yeah. This is your code that you did today, so we most probably need this one. List header component.
Yes.
View.
So in theory, you only need to move the stack.screen to the top and that's it.
I had the stack.screen here.
Yes, so that's the only thing that we need from old code.
Yeah. Here.
Yep.
And I'll remove this one and probably
nothing here is needed anymore.
There was a properties detail post. We don't need that.
Is detail post, you do need that, but we had it before as well.
And only the type probably detailed post. This one we actually don't need because we are we are working with data, which this data is going to be the post. So let's take the post. We don't need detail post. This is going to be post. Let's say post here. What else? Looking at some red errors that indicates issues. It's here at the top. So I have like React Native import probably 2 times here as well, which means that I need the activity indicator and alert to the top and remove this one. I need probably use local search is imported 2 times. Let's remove it. Post list item 2 times. Let's remove it. Posts, we don't even need them, I think, anymore. Scroll view, we don't need it. That should be it. React from React is not needed.
Yep.
It would be good to clean up a little bit. For example, libraries are usually at the top, and then like maybe components.
You have Tanstack.
Oh, Tanstack here. Something like
an
this.
Expo Router as well. You could move it higher.
Okay, this should be good. And everything in this branch that we just merged should work with the backend except with the post. The post here should be coming from the dummy data comments. What I want to do is I will move some of the stuff like this, insets and use state at the top, For some reason, for me, state should be at the top of a component.
So now you can start following, guys. Because here they will have it on the bottom, like, or they improve, like, unless
Yeah.
they already define them at the top.
I will first test everything, and
Yeah.
then we start with the backend. I'm not developing anything. I'm just cleaning some things up. Okay. Let me try to run the project, because in the merge conflicts, these are the only two conflicts we had. We kind of solved them. We can do double testing if we did the merge correctly, and then pushing the code. So I'll actually stop the previous server, start it again, maybe with dash dash clear. Environment variable. And the list of posts should come from the backend. Yes, they do. And the details should also be there. The comments now are dummy data, but we see that it's good that they're here. So the next step is going to also be adding them to the implementing the backend of them. So what I'm going to do before we actually start, and this is still like part of the merging everything, is creating a new commit of saying that merged with main, or let's say with backend code. Let's do git push origin comments. And if I do this, now when I look on GitHub, then there are no conflicts because we solve them locally. And you will see like what changes happened to implement the comments. Perfect. Let me merge this one. And I think I should delete the branch. Maybe not. Maybe not. I will leave it. So now, last things that I have to do is git checkout main. Clear. Git status. Okay, now here in the detailed post, no, it didn't work. Git pull origin main. Okay, now it has the comments as well. Okay, perfect. So that means that now we are ready to start implementing the backend for the comments. Before we do that, give me a second. I don't have water anymore. And then we start with the comments.
So it's an unusual time of the stream, I would say, Wednesday, and I see that it's probably, why don't you use Redux? Well, my opinion on Redux is not very good. For me, it's a bit too dirty. There's too much boilerplate. It does have its own definitely use cases where you should use it. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good, but I would rather either choose Zustand, or in our case we chose Jotai, as it's a lot, like, it's for small applications it's a lot better, I would say. Very easy to set up and use. So yeah.
1 second. All right, our next step is to to answer.
Yes, it is. It is a lot more simplified, definitely, but still, now I'm not sure. Like, I would probably always go for Zustand if I need like a very full-fledged global state management system, but I'm not sure. Like maybe Vadim has a different opinion on that. Maybe he likes
Like
Redux.
the modern world of global state like is a bit different,
I'm
specifically
not
because
sure we can hear you, Vadim,
you cannot hear me.
if you're talking.
Hello, hello. Maybe it's from your side because I think my microphone is good.
No, we do not hear. At least I don't hear you.
Hello, can anyone confirm if they can hear me? Because I think it should be good. Let me check somewhere. Yeah. Uh,
Okay. Well,
yeah. Lucas, I don't know what's happening. I can. Lucas, can you hear me now? Guys.
okay. I think I fixed it. I think it was
Hello.
on my side, so sorry for that.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect.
So probably I was talking on top of you.
A bit, but no, everything good. So I was trying to say that, yeah, like in most applications, you are, in a lot of cases, you are working with remote data. Remote data means data that usually lives on a server, like on a backend, and that you're fetching, and you just want to keep a copy of that version locally in your application. So for that kind of use cases, Tanstack Query is a very good solution. It's way easier to manage that. It simplifies how we fetch data, how we cache it. So for that kind of use cases, I always use Tanstack Query. In that case, it replaces a global state management. It works like a global state management a bit differently, but the cache behind it works like a global state management. And for data that is local only, that's the only use case where you need a global state management library. Data that is only like locally, in that case, the solutions like Zustand or Jotai are much better in my opinion. Okay, so I think we're ready to go ahead and now that we have the comment list here, we are still using, if we check the post comments coming from dummy data. Let's go ahead and implement the backend of the comments and fetch the comments from the database. Because if we look at the database, we already have a table comments that links to a post. And after seeding the database, we actually should already have some comments. Comments linking to some posts. The only thing that is left is to fetch these comments when we are fetching the post details. For that, what we're going to do is we're going to check how we are fetching the post. First of all, we could get the comments in two different ways. Either in a separate query by fetching a list of comments, or in the same query that we are fetching the post by ID, by saying, give me the post and its comments. And I think it's much more performant to do it in the same query because there is less back and forth between the server and the client. In some cases, it's better to make the query smaller to get data faster, but with comments here, I think it's going to be good if we go into the fetch by post ID or fetch post by ID. And here we say that, hey, Supabase, give me the posts and give me all the columns from the post. Also, give me all the columns from the relation from the groups and all the value of the upvotes. if I go here and say also, give me all the comments, comments with all the columns that is related to these posts. If I'm going to go back here and check the post data by doing console log, it's going to be easier to see it if we do JSON stringify post null and then 2. And if I look into the logs, we should see that now we have data about the post, data about the group, upvotes, and finally the data about comments. This post in itself does not have any comments. Maybe one of these will have, still doesn't. How to do it better? Because I see them here, post ID, and this post ID is 22D. And I will check by clicking on it which one, or maybe I'm going to copy this ID, post ID. And let's look into the post, which is the post with that ID, by looking at the filter by ID, why React Native is the best. So if I will check, where is that one? Why React Native is the best, this one with a picture, we see that indeed we have an array of comments with all the comments under that post. Okay, let's take these comments and use them instead of post comments. So I'm going to remove post comments, which is dummy data. And I'm going to check the flat list that renders the post comments, and I'm going to take them now from the post.comments. And it should work if I will find that why React Native is the best. Most probably it is going to work. Maybe not exactly, because we also need the user of a comment. So that means that if I look into a comment list item, we also need the user, so comment.user. If I simply comment out this part and go into this part, replies. Okay, it's a little bit more information that we need here. We need the user, we need the reply. So I'm thinking whether to that means that back in our post service into the fetch post by ID, it's not enough to just fetch the posts. We are also going to fetch post, and inside this post, or where it's not enough to fetch only the data about the comments. We also need data about the author, the user of that comment. So inside these parentheses, we are going to say, okay, besides all the columns of the comments, I also want the relationship with the users. This is the table name. And from that relationship, take everything. Maybe you can be more specific because you might need only image and name, but I'll take everything like this. If I save, it's still not going to solve it because I expect it to be renamed from users to user. So I'm going to say, in a new column called user, put the values of a relationship with a users table. This is the name of our table here. And actually, we do not have users table here, That's going to be probably the challenge. Let me stop for a bit here, and in the comment list item, let me comment out the user info part. And also in the replies, where we check comment.replies.map, let me find comment.replies. We have this one here. Let me do it with question mark for a second, because with question mark, it's safely going to access the length, and we don't yet have replies. And here, let me comment it out for a second as well. Okay, now if I go to a post, we should see the comments themselves, which are coming from the database. If I look at the comments, we see these comments coming from here. Let's go ahead and fetch and understand if their comment has any replies. To do that, I'm not going to fetch the replies. I'm only going to fetch probably the number of replies. So in the service that we use to fetch this post, fetch post by ID, inside the comments, I need to, maybe let's do replies. The relationship of a comment with a comment, like this. And if I open it up, we see that now all the comments, they have a field replies with an empty array. But if I'm going to go ahead here and transform one of these comments, none of them have a parent ID. But if I will point one of them to another comment, for example, I'm going to look at this comment, or let's say this one, nicely written, keep up the good work. I'm going to open this one. I'm going to copy its ID. And to another post, for example, totally, I'll say that, hey, this is a reply to the previous one. So in the parent, I'm going to put this ID. If I do that, and maybe to the totally agree this one as well, like they are two under here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the third level. I'm going to take totally agree, which is a reply. I'm going to take its ID, and I'm going to put this one. I wanted to say exactly the same as a reply of a reply, and to see how this is going to work. If I do that and come here, and I will go into this post with comments, we are going to see comments, no replies. This one, nicely written, has replies as totally and totally agree. And it's only one layer, because that's what we did. We only queried the one layer deep. The only problem is that this totally agree should also be... Lucas, how is my internet connection? Yeah, the problem, in my opinion,
it is showing that it's good, but...
Okay, the problem in my opinion is that this totally agree comment that is part of a reply is also going to be above in the comments. So if I do a search here, it's going to be here as a top comment and here as a reply as well, which basically means that when we fetch the comments, we should fetch only the ones that are
Vadim,
top level. Yeah.
But people are saying that for them it's a little lagging. For me, it's okay. Maybe you can stop the zoom. I mean, I will not see anything, but
that's true. I could do that. Hopefully we're not gonna... Are you still here, Lucas? Yeah,
yep.
I see some dropped frames.
YouTube also shows excellent connection. I'm always checking that one.
Yeah, I see in Streamlabs is dropping some frames, but I think it should stabilize.
Yeah, and Tim the Sniper, very old fan that I still remember, him saying that it's fine now.
Perfect. Thank you, Sniper. So what I wanted to say is that the problem right now is that we are fetching all comments related to a post. The thing is that a reply of a comment will be displayed as a reply under the comment replies and as a parent one because it still has the same post ID. We can fix this either by removing the post ID from the replies, or we can filter out when we fetch the post comments, the top level comments, only the ones that have parent ID null. If they have parent ID null, that means that it's a top level comment. And I'm thinking if the first solution is that bad. If a reply should point to the post. Maybe it should. So in that case, we're going to go with the second one by filtering out when we fetch top level replies, the one that have parent ID null. Sorry. And in that case, with this approach by fetching comments together with the posts is not going to work. Because here we cannot add conditions to this relationship. So that's why we're going to need a completely separate function with a completely separate query that is going to be separate than the post. We fetch the post and then we fetch the comments. So let's go ahead and do fetch comments. And this is going to be an async function. And let's say that we are going to send obviously the Supabase to know how to get it. But before that, we are going to fetch the post ID that for which we're trying to request. Now we're going to do again const data and error. That's how we interact with Supabase. That's what Supabase is going to return. And Supabase dot now we are going to do dot from comments. We are going to select everything. And the good thing is now we can add conditions like where clause. I'm going to add where the post ID is, where is it? Let me do it like this. Select everything equal where the column post ID is going to be equal to post ID from here. And then that's it, right? Yeah. So I'm going to do the same if error throw error, otherwise return data. And now I'm going to use these fetch comments. And as you can imagine, I can already say that for comments also fetch their replies like this. So I will comment out this part from here to make it easier to fetch a post, to make the query faster. And because we're going to fetch comments separately, let's go ahead inside the details page and define another use query below the post. And the other use query is going to be use query, is going to have a query key, and is going to have a query function. For the query function, it's going to be the newly created fetch comments function that needs the post ID, which is going to be the ID of this page, and Supabase. Now for the query key, we're going to say this is a request not to get a post, but to request to get comments. and comments that we are filtering based on post ID equal ID. This way, fetching comments to different posts is going to land in a different part in our cache. Because without that, we're going to put all the comments for all the posts into the same part, and it's going to be messing up. Now we're gonna get data here, and the data is going to be comments. Let's go ahead and do a JSON stringify to see the comments themselves. And now if I go to, for example, this post, we should see an array of comments. It's the same array, and we see again this reply, totally agree, being as a reply and as a top comment as well. But now, because we can apply conditions, I'm going to go into the fetch comments function. I can say when I do this, make sure that parent ID, like the field parent underscore ID, is null. That is a top comment. Parent ID is null. Can it be is null or null or not? Equal null doesn't want to work. Let me see where it is. Lucas, can you check on Google Supabase query null? Oh, Lucas is not here. We lost Lucas. Hello, Lucas.
Hello, hello.
We lost you.
Yeah, I texted you that it's again a
I
problem.
was trying to find Supabase query null. Not null. I was expecting equal, like dot equal when null, but it doesn't really want that.
Okay, let's
Because
check.
parent ID is a string, but it's also optional.
How are you doing now?
I'm doing parent ID is null.
Can you do like dot is
Dot is
instead of dot equal?
is. What's the difference? It kind of works. So if I go here and look into the logs, that's what I'm interested in. If I come here, now I will see only 2 top level comments, because indeed we only have 2 top level comments, and the other ones are simply replies to this one. Perfect. That means that now we can use this in the details page, the comments from our use query, inside our flat list. Comments like this. Perfect. And list header component. Okay, we're gonna figure out like the types in a second. And the show replies actually works as well. The thing is that I'm not sure if we actually need the replies themselves, or we need just the amount of them. Because yeah, it's good, but what I'm thinking is let's query the amount of them here, and when we press on the button to go ahead and actually fetch the replies.
For me, it's difficult to see what you're doing because I see it's so much behind, but also you ask like why is and not equal, and the little difference is basically equal checks for exact matches. So that's why you check the values with it. but is like is checking for the null values, which is not considered like exact value.
Okay, good to know. Let me see in the post list item, when we do show more, something like that, right? This is post list item. No, I'm looking at the comment list item. We have here is show replies. So comment.replies is show replies. Then what's happening is we are not displaying them. So if I just comment out this one, we are going to display them. Perfect. But it's going to stop here. So we need to send another query to get now the replies of these replies, because remember, one of them has a third level of replies. So to do that, we're going to send another query here in the comment list item. So for every comment, what we are going to do is let's fetch the replies. So the replies are going to be the following. So let's go ahead and do use query. It's going to be very similar to how we fetch the list of comments, by the way. This one, comments, is going to be kind of the same. We just have to adjust some things in the fetch comments here. The difference is going to be that we are going to say comments, then we're going to do replies, or maybe I'm not going to do even replies, but I'm going to say here parent ID, which is a different value, is going to be equal to comment ID. So now we're not going to filter based on the post ID, we are going to filter based on the parent ID, loading replies to comments. Now in the fetch comments, we need the Supabase. So for that, we're going to do use Supabase. And here, instead of ID, we need a different value. It's parent ID. So to fetch comments, let's go ahead and see how we are going to modify these fetch comments to be able to, maybe we can actually do a separate function and call it fetch comment replies, or we can have a same function, but this is going to be our filters, and the filters are going to have either post ID of type string, and this is optional, or we are going to have or should I do it separately? I think it's going to be, I'm not going to confuse you if I do it separately. So yeah, let's actually go ahead and duplicate this fetch comments function and call fetch comment replies. In this case, fetch comment replies does not need a post ID, it needs a parent ID, or the replies to what comment we want to fetch. And when we fetch, we're not going to filter by post ID, we're going to simply filter by parent ID, where this parent ID is equal to this parent ID, and we don't need the last one is here. And again, we fetch the reply fields and their replies as well. So this way we are fetching one layer below. Now I'm going to copy this fetch comment replies into the comment list item, and this is the function that we're going to call here to load the replies. Let's import it, and the ID is going to come from comment.id. Now we have comments, and you see we already have them in the replies, but we are also going to have them there. So I can go ahead and do simply comments.length, and work from comments themselves dot comments. Let's do if and comments dot length. Now if I will put it as Lucas did here like this, if I go ahead and open that post, we're going to see the top level comments that were fetched by this use query in the details page. Now if I press show more, we see two more comments. This is depth 1, and we see that one of them has also the show replies button. If I press show replies on that one, we see the third level, and it stops here because it no longer has comments. But if we take and make the fourth level by copying the ID of the third level here and creating a new post, insert row, this post ID, fourth level, and this is not, doesn't matter what post ID it actually has. I'm going to just do parent ID, that's what matters. If I do that, yeah, it doesn't want this with post ID. I'm going to simply select a record like this one and do save. Now if I will reload, we should have a fourth level of comments. So we have this is top level comments, second level, third level, and fourth level. All of them queried and imported from the backend. And if we go ahead and look by pressing Shift M for more tools and going into React Query plugin, this is where we're going to see how this data is stored in cache. And this is how we designed our cache. If I'm going to reload, it's going to load the first posts with their votes. For the upvotes. And then if I go into one of the posts, for example, into this one, I should see somewhere here that I'm loading the comments for a post ID. Then I'm loading the comments, comment replies for this parent ID, and another comment replies for this parent ID. So all of them are stored like separately, depending on how we filter them. And as we do, like it loads and loads and loads more. Perfect. That's how it's done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up where I have that console log somewhere. This one. I no longer need it. So I'm going to do git status, git add, git commit -m, fetch comments. There is one thing that we didn't implement, and maybe first actually something that we can do is fix a little bit the types. For example, the comment list item here, if I go into the comment list item, this comment should not come from the types that we manually generated. It should come from the types type comment is equal to tables, which will be imported from our database types, which are auto-generated based on our table, and we say that it's a comments type. And I will remove this import from here, and now the comment should be fine here. So comment list item is good here. The only thing is that most probably we should also specify that it can have replies or comment upvotes. This is something that we don't have yet. I'm going to leave it like this because indeed we do not have upvotes. But about replies. Oh, but we do not take the replies. We take them from here, comments. Or maybe this actually should be replies, right? Like if we call them, right? Yeah, to be more correct, these are replies. And let's not confuse, because this is going to be if replies.length and show replies, and here if show replies, map through them and display them. Okay, perfect. Going back here in the ID, there is also this post list item that doesn't like that the post type, what? The post is coming from tables post. Group and upvotes, and what with this post? Where is it coming from? Fetch post by ID. Unexpected input. Why unexpected input? I think the TypeScript is do I have too many brackets here? Maybe. So now that's the problem. Where is it? Post. Yeah, that was the problem. Did you see, Lucas? Yeah, now it's fixed. So TypeScript found out that in my select, even though it was working, my select had one extra bracket here. And TypeScript told me like, something not good. Perfect. Now the types are good. The only thing that we didn't implement is displaying the avatar of the user that is posting the comment. That's because our users are not handled here in the users database. They're handled on the cleric. So we're gonna see if by the end of the video we're gonna be able to see how we can replicate them here, to add there more details about them here. For now, we are going to we're not gonna do that, so our comments are going to be without a user. Lucas is probably not very happy about that, but let's go ahead and first implement some features like adding a new comment.
Quick thing, can you double check if you're not dropping frames? Because even though it says excellent condition, okay? What?
Yeah, I am dropping some frames.
Yeah, I see that as well on the stream, even though it says excellent condition, but I do see you.
Sorry for that.
Now it got like quite bad, to be honest.
So what's going on?
What's taking most of the network?
OBS. Code helper plugin. Is that the live share? Code
yes,
helper.
Stop it. I actually quit in order to help, but probably
are you sure that it's the code sharing?
Well, it could be. Not sure, but you could stop it, like, just in case. I'm not sure it will make anything worse. I stopped it.
Do you mean to stop it here, right? Stop collaboration session.
I think you can just stop it like from the VS Code itself. Not sure if that's actually that plugin, the code helper.
Yeah, that's why I'm afraid a bit too.
Probably do not do it from here. I think now it got better again. Like,
it's also maybe like my CPU is overpowering, and we saw that it's hopefully going better.
but this wasn't happening like last Friday. This wasn't happening last Friday.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need a new system. So, as I was saying, we have fetching the comments. We don't yet have a user of that comment, but we're gonna think like how to fix it by the end. Now what I want to do is I want to implement creating or posting a comment. That I'm going to start with a service under, actually I don't yet have a comment service, so I'm going to create a new file with comments service.ts, and I already have some functions related to comments. So these are fetch comments and fetch comment replies from our post service. They shouldn't be here, so let's copy them from here. In the comment service, let's make sure to import Supabase client and database at the top. And also let's make sure that where we import the fetch comments, which should be in our application protected tabs, maybe not tabs, maybe post ID. We are here, we are importing fetch comments. It should be from, I will duplicate them, and I'll say that the fetch comments should be imported from the comment service. Now, while I'm here, I'm also going to remove this dummy data for the comments. And there is also one more place in the comment list item where we import both fetch comment replies and fetch comments, which fetch comments we do not need, only replies. And this one is going to come from comment service. Good. Now let's go ahead in our service related to the comments and create a function that is going to create a new comment. Let's go to the bottom and say export const insert comment. We're going to need access to the Supabase, and we are going to need access to some data that we can insert. We can look into the post service, because here we should definitely have a fetch post, delete post. We didn't implement creating a post. No, we implemented creating a post. Maybe we didn't extract it. So I'm going to go into the protected tabs, create. Yeah, and here we have a function, insert post. And insert post is coming from, oh, it was just not extracted. Not gonna do that now. It's better to extract it to there. But we see that the way it's designed, it says that insert post will expect a post that is the type tables insert, containing only the required fields that the table has. When we do insert, select single, perfect. I know how to implement it. So here in the insert comment, we're going to need here new comment of type tables, but not tables. Tables is just the value that when we fetch something, but it's tables insert. And tables insert is only going to be like if I import it from our generated database types, it's going to be a type for the insert object in the comment. For example, when we insert, we don't have to provide the ID, it's going to be auto-generated. So that's why it's different with data, the type when we fetch with the type what we insert. Now let's go ahead and get data and error, and we're going to do that from await supabase.from, specifying the table. It's going to be a comment, and we are going to insert a new comment like this. And in order to get it back with the values that we inserted, we can do select. And to get only one item back, we're going to do single, not an array. Now we can do the same if error, throw error, and return data. And we are ready to use this insert comment in a mutation on the details page of a post. So going into the protected post ID, we are going to define here a mutation. We have a mutation to delete a post, and just below it, we're going to add a new mutation called use mutation, and the mutation function is going to call insert comment, and it needs the new comment with values, and it needs the Supabase. Let's do it like this. So what does a new comment need? Well, it needs to know, if we look in the data of a comment to see in the edit tables maybe, we see that ID is going to be auto-generated, created at auto-generated, post ID, parent ID, and comment ID is something that we need to provide. User ID is going to automatically be taken from the authorization header. So the comment is the easiest one because we say comment is going to come from the input comment that the user is typing here. Now the post ID is also not very complicated because we know the ID of a post that we are on the page. So we're going to take the ID of this page. Now the parent ID, like if it's a reply, we're going to take it based on the previous reply button that we pressed. For that, we need to create a new state variable and store that one in state. So I'm going to go at the top, and somewhere here where we have our state, we're going to say reply to and set reply to. Let's do reply to ID to know that this is just an ID of a comment that we are replying to. Use state is going to be null, but the type of the state can be either null or a string. Now, when we press on the buttons, these reply buttons, and we end up calling this function. And what we should do is say, hey, set reply to ID with the comment ID. Now, after we press these buttons, we are going to store that, and we can access this one in the parent ID when we create the comment, saying that this one is the reply to ID. And it's going to be null if it's null. Maybe I'm just thinking